And we're back one more time with a different kind of episode.
You know, the weather's been so warm lately. I haven't been wearing long pants. So
What have you been wearing?
I've been wearing shorts.
Shorts?
Yes. And that reminded me that, as long as I'm wearing them, we should watch them too. So anyway,
It's
this
a
is
podcast.
The Shorts
We can't see what
Festival.
you're wearing.
It's the Shorts Festival #2.
Yes.
And
last year
I'm Kevin, by the way.
Oh, I'm Brian.
And this is the Horror Guys. And we normally talk about horror movies. Here
but this week we're talking about Kevin's
shorts.
pants for some reason.
Shorts. Should have been more specific when you said we were doing a shorts festival.
Oh.
I'm wearing shorts too.
What's with the little polka dot heart things?
Those are strange shorts.
Yes, well, anyway, we watched an entire week of Strange Shorts this week. We did the same thing last year once. Why not do it every year? A week of nothing but shorts.
And it's really amazing if you go to YouTube or even Vimeo.
Oh, it's so many of them.
You could spend the whole day watching shorts, horror shorts. There's so many. The technology is such now that people can make them and make them well. And, they do. They get some people that can act and some people that can do tech things. And
some that can't.
boy, yeah, well, but there's so many good ones.
Yeah, I mean,
And
on
not
the
just the horror genre, too. There's all kinds of dramas and science fiction. And, if you go to YouTube and look for shorts, or Vimeo, too, but, Vimeo seems like lesser somewhat, but it's harder to find, I think, stuff on Vimeo. Unless you're looking for a specific thing. Huh?
I don't do Vimeo. That's worth doing?
It is, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff there.
Okay.
It's no YouTube, but there's a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Well, yeah, on the Horror Guys site, we do usually 4 movies and a short. Actually, 6 movies and a short every week. I mean, we could really do a short every day. There's so many of them on YouTube.
Yeah.
People are just making them like crazy.
Uh-huh.
Well, anyway, this week we've got 12 of them to talk about.
Yeah, and we won't spoil them incredibly much because
No, we're not going to spoil
they're so
them.
short, and
They're-
you should see them for yourselves.
Our descriptions are vague enough. You'll still get a lot out of watching them. And they are all available on YouTube.
Uh-huh.
The show notes will have links. If you can't find it that way, go to horrorguys.com, do a search for the one that we're talking about, and watch it there. And, well, we got a bunch of them. Where are we going to start?
First up, we have a international one, Baby Boom, from 2023.
Most of these are 2023s. They're almost
Yeah.
all new. There's a
Yeah.
couple of older ones toward the end.
This was written and directed by Thomas Lund. Stars Jesper Malm, Tina Shea, Espen Petrus Anderson Lervag. That's
Sounds like an IKEA movie.
It does. It runtime is an hour, 11 minutes and 28 seconds.
And there's a link to watch it in the show notes.
Yeah.
What happens?
They came.
Well, what's it about?
Presents
Let's not
Baby
say what
Boom.
happens. We're
Yeah.
not going to spoil them.
Well, an injured man staggers down the street. He goes into a clinic and says his friend's stomach was ripped open and he's injured. Doctor wonders if the man is on drugs, and so the man tells his story. And then the doctor really wonders if he's on drugs at first. And we see a news report about a missing woman, one of several. And we see them earlier, the 2 guys, Runar with his friend Peter, at the bar having a beer, and they leave and see a meteorite crash nearby. Well, the 10 missing girls reappear as mysteriously as they disappeared, except they're not quite normal anymore. And what exactly has happened? All they can say is, man. Runar gets lucky at the bar that night. And not so lucky.
Maybe not so lucky.
Neither
yeah.
of them truly get lucky. Yeah.
Well, this one looks really good.
It
It's
does.
good, really good visuals, really good sound. It's great. We have a pretty good idea of why the girls are acting strangely. They kind of show us what's going on, but no one else figures it out. It's very weird, and it is also hilarious.
Yeah, this was very funny.
It's maybe the funniest one of the entire week.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
All right, yeah, definitely recommend that one.
Yeah, we would.
What's next?
See, our discussion of them is short. They're short, too. They're short, and they're shorts.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
you don't want to
everything-
spoil them, so
everything
we can't
about
tell the
it is
whole
short.
thing.
Yeah. Well, we can recommend them, highly versus, not. Next up, we had Cabin Number 9, which was directed by Jaya Kapoor and written. Also stars Jaya Kapoor and Henry Smith. So she was a one-person show on this.
Pretty much.
Basically, with another guy. The runtime is 10 minutes and 22 seconds.
See, that's the benefit of doing a short. One person can do it.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
possible.
it may take a long time, and I'm
Uh-huh.
sure it's a lot of work.
Time consuming, and you still got to have the know-how. And
You don't need a
to-
cast of
to
thousands,
do
though.
quality, but yeah.
Well, a woman goes to stay in the cabin in the country to get away from her hectic life. There's a news report about a serial killer on the loose in the area. The victims were all females living alone. But she's talking on the phone and doesn't hear any of that news. That evening, we see someone is watching her through the windows. She wakes up to see flashing red and blue lights outside. Did the cops stop someone? Well, she goes outside to investigate. Well, she's outside. Someone else goes in.
Oh, it was a trick to get her outside.
Well, no matter what your job is, there's always someone better out there.
Yes, there is.
The whole thing went pretty much exactly as you'd expect, so you might assume that there's going to be a twist of some sort, but I won't tell you. We weren't disappointed, but the ending took a little bit long to wrap up, I thought.
Just a hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. This one was very good. Because of that ending, it wasn't great. See, we have to rate these somehow.
Yeah,
Which ones
yeah.
are better than others? And this one was very good.
You see, you go to a regular film festival, they pick out the best of the best of the best to show people.
Yeah, and that would be just so hard because by the time they reach a festival, they're all good. Mm-hmm. You know, and you want to be nice to these people. They all worked really hard on these, and yeah, that'd be hard to judge at a. Well,
Yeah.
we attended a film festival one time.
Oh, more than one. But yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm thinking of one in particular that was entirely shorts,
Uh-huh.
and they were all really, really good. And then, you know, how do you narrow that down and say, well, this one was great, and this one was merely very good?
Well, basically, we went through YouTube, typed in horror shorts, and picked the ones with the interesting thumbnails.
There you go.
Some of them are great, some of them are kind of awful. So that's where we came from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we're going to talk about some bad ones today.
Yeah.
Not that Cabin Number
not
9 is
as
bad.
good.
It's just not as good as Baby Boom, for
Right.
example.
Yeah, you gotta have degrees.
And we will tell you our favorites at the end.
Yeah.
All right, next up we have Familiar, written and directed by David Ellison. Again, one person did it all. Stars Hugo Nicolau, Rick Wiltshire, Joanna Hudson, and Milda Kuplinskate. 10 minutes long. You watch it on YouTube. What happens?
Oh, this is kind of noir. It's 1942, Brackwell, Pennsylvania. A sad-looking man plays a record as a voice calls from somewhere. Let me out! I want to go home! And the screaming intensifies as the credits roll. Well, we cut to the man, again, carrying a body wrapped in a sheet. He uncovers it in the basement, and we see it's a woman. And then the man sits on the side of the bed, contemplating his actions until the screaming starts again. He eventually goes back downstairs to the woman, who is dead with a chunk bitten out of her neck. But he's feeding the master, so he'll at least be nice to him, right? 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 When you appease the master?
Well, this one's got a loud jump scare right in the middle, and it got me.
It was
I
a
jumped.
good one. Yeah.
The quiet music throws you off.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the old-style music from his record and the ambient sounds really make the film shine. That jump scares are usually kind of dumb. This was a good one, though.
It was well done. Yeah.
The period-perfect locations do a great job of setting the mood as well. We're not quite sure why he was in this role, but he's not happy about it.
Yeah, the angst is palpable.
And next we move over to Skin and Bone. Written and directed by Eli Powers, stars Amanda Seyfried and Thomas Sadowski. Around 17 minutes. Watch it at the length we give you. And what happens?
Well, a man with a strange eye gets off a truck, goes hiking for a ways, comes to a farm where there's a woman feeding her horse. He's here for the job. She asks him about his eye, and he says he was born that way. It's kind of milky and clouded over. Yeah, and she tells him the rules, lets him sleep in the barn. He's very agreeable. She's kind of tough sounding. His name is Christian, and she is Serene. And he soon gets to work doing things around the farm. Serene kind of watches him outside the window. That night he hears something and wakes up. There's a naked man shivering in the corner of the barn. Nope, just a dream. Or was it? Well, Christian starts seeing and hearing weird things, starts sleeping with a knife under his pillow. Serene invites him in for dinner one night, and they talk. And do you have any attachments? And no, he doesn't anymore.
Oh, that's never a good sign.
Oh yeah, so we won't be missed. Yikes! Yeah, red
Well,
flag.
A horse is a horse, of course, of course. Maybe not always.
Maybe not.
This looks really good, very sharp and stylish. It's even got a song in the middle.
Yeah, she did a really nice job with that. That was a pretty song.
She's been in lots of things.
Kind of a bluegrassy, and she's playing guitar herself.
Yeah.
Or is it a banjo? Guitar.
Banjo,
Banjo.
I think.
Yeah. That one was banjo. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's really good at it. Anyway, yeah.
This starts out interesting and could go a bunch of different ways. You don't quite know where it's going to go. The first half could be the start of any generic Hallmark romance movie.
Yeah, it could
The
have gone that
farmhand
way.
comes to the single, tough farm owner who gives him a job and a place to live in the barn, and then they have dinner.
Yeah. And romance ensues.
Well, this is a horror movie, so you know that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's not quite clear who the crazy one is until the end. Yeah, we made it sound like she's the crazy one. We could be lying.
We could be.
Which takes us to Sleep Breaker, written and directed by Andrei Stolyar, stars Maria Lesikova, 6 minutes and 6 seconds. You know where to find it. What happens?
Well, a woman puts down her phone and goes to sleep. She dreams of something disturbing, and it wakes her up with a jolt. Twice. Well, she gets up and takes a sleeping pill, tries to go back to sleep. You ever have one of those nights where it's just not happening? And it keeps happening. And it gets even worse when she does get to sleep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's nightmares.
Yeah. Very, very sharp jolting. Yeah.
It starts out with a little bit of I can't sleep and soon changes to I don't want to sleep, which kind of brings up echoes of Nightmare on Elm Street.
A little bit.
But it's not like that at all. The ending is a lot more like The Ring than anything else. From the on-screen text, it's clearly made in Russia, but the very little dialogue there is all in English. I think there's 2 cops that speak something in Russian for 1 or 2 lines, but you don't need to know.
Yeah.
It's short, but it's good.
It was. It was good.
6 minutes. I think this might be the shortest one. Nope, the next
Not
one's
the
even
shortest.
shorter. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It was good. It was all right. It's all right.
Yeah.
Short film, Still Here. Written and directed by Matthew D. Gilpin. Stars Gerard Cook, Izzy Haynes, and Matthew D. Gilpin. Runtime, less than 5 minutes.
Just under 5.
Yeah. James wonders what it's like living a normal life. He says he can't believe everything he sees.
And that was really well done. Cause
He's in there
as
talking to his therapist.
Well, no, that opening scene where he's just doing a normal, putting the dishes away, and you see something in the background that he's trying hard to ignore.
She's not behind me. She's not behind
She's
me.
not real. She's not real.
Well, he hears the whispers and he sees the things behind him. He needs constant reminding just to stay sane. He lost someone close to him not very long ago, and he's having trouble letting go and adjusting. Schizophrenia. It's real. Or is it? Really doesn't matter if it's not all bad, right?
Right.
This one's really, really short, and there are no special effects or jump scares, but it's very well acted and looks really good.
And I don't know if it... Do they ever say schizophrenia? I don't think they do.
No, I don't. Well, he's seeing a therapist
But
over it, and you know he's being treated for seeing things, so that's my assumption.
Something, hallucinations, yeah. Or are they?
Or are they real? Yeah, that's always
Yeah,
the thing with a horror show.
That's the question, yeah. And this one really is put to the question. Yeah, I thought they did that one really well, and his grief and, ghostly stuff too. Yeah, it was cool.
What's next?
Swept Under from 2023. Well, it's redundant to say 2023 at this point.
So far, they all have been.
Yeah. Directed by Ethan Sue and written by Ethan Sue. Stars Elvin Heng, Lisa Bobby, and Brandon Lassard. And runtime is about 9.5 minutes.
All right.
What happened?
We hear news reports about Cambodia's civil war in the 1970s. I mean, this is like Nixon news clippings. It's all real. There are a vast number of Cambodian refugees moving to the U.S. We pop to the present, where Cameron, we're told, was one of them, and he's all
Adopted.
grown up now.
One of the war orphan babies.
Yes.
Yeah, adopted.
He's moving to a new home, and he finds a rug there, a gift from his adopted sister. She says, "It's not just any rug, it's made by a survivor of the genocide." The thing is kind of filthy, so that evening, Cam beats his rug. The problem is that this rug has had enough abuse. Then it starts singing to him.
And things get worse.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of things are swept under the rug when talking about politics and genocide. I see what they did there.
Mm-hmm.
Cameron didn't have anything to do with it, so this is kind of all a little bit unfortunate for him.
Yeah, he's an unfortunate victim here.
Yeah, he had nothing to do with any of that bad stuff. This one is really weird. It's got a pretty heavy political message in there as well, but that only makes it better because it's got some real background to it.
Yeah, it touches on, the United States involvement in these various coups and violences and things. Not just Cambodia, but other places they mention.
They do mention other
Yeah.
places, yes.
Yeah, swept under the rug. We don't talk about those much, but
Because they're swept under.
yeah.
Well, are you hungry?
I could go for some dinner.
What happens
The dinner after.
Directed by Matty Crawford, written by Paul Carey, stars Lucy Doyle, Joanna Brooks, John Ram, and Fern Deacon. A little over 12 minutes, and what happens?
Well, Angela arrives home at her parents' house for dinner. She's been away for a while, and she doesn't seem terribly comfortable coming home. It's all very awkward between the three of them.
It's very awkward.
Yeah, boy, is it ever. Well, they bring her favorite meal, roast chicken, and she says she's always been a vegetarian. And they're like, no, how can that be? It's your favorite meal. Well, there's some confusion on that. And they also keep confusing her for someone else. Her father even calls her by the wrong name.
2 or 3 times.
Well, someone is delusional here, but who? And there's a dysfunctional dinner, family dinner, but then there's this. Yeah, that's something.
It's all very well acted and looks great. It's a horror short, not a family drama, so something is up.
Uh-huh.
I'm not quite sure about the ending myself. And you can't say without spoiling it.
I have a strong theory, but I can't say because
I have a strong theory too.
Because I would spoil it.
It could go a couple of different ways.
It could. Yeah.
Either way is kind of interesting.
Yeah. Either way is really well done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought she was amazing in that role. And the parents.
Whatever role she's
and the
playing.
parents. I mean, yeah.
Well, the parents are kind of overacty.
Yeah, well, yeah, but they were perfect for what they were. Yeah.
A little surreal.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Speaking of surreal, we've got The End of the Squirrel from 2023, written and directed by Michael Christensen, stars Catherine Olsen and Jeremy Appel. 7 minutes, 20 seconds. Tell us about it.
Well, it's a zombie apocalypse. There's 2 hold-up survivors in a house with a swarm outside with minutes to live. In fact, she's very specific about it. They're very jokey and very
8.2 minutes or something.
6 minutes and 42 seconds.
Okay.
And it's like, that's very specific. Well, Jer and Kit only have 2 bullets left, so they know how this is going to end. But Jer wants some kind of swan song, so he sits at the piano and plays.
It's quite a literal swan song.
It is, yeah. End of the world kind of song. End of the squirrel. Not end of the world.
Well, the apocalypse looks like a lot of fun until it's not anymore. The song is quite good. The setting and acting are perfect. I like this one a lot.
Yeah. It was very interesting how they made the balance of, these 2 people having amazing senses of humor, and yet, it's the end, and they know it.
Y'all gonna die in about 2 minutes.
Yeah. I thought they did a really nice job with that one.
All right. Next up, we have Kuru, which is, oh my goodness, it's 2017.
Huh.
Which
And
would not
there's
have even made the cut if I had not misread some of the details.
And there's a story there.
This is put out on Alter's YouTube channel. They put out a ton of horror shorts.
Uh-huh.
And they called this a new release like 2 or 3 months ago. So I'm like, okay, it's a new one. Let's watch it.
Well,
It was out in 2017, which I didn't catch until after the rest of it, and you'll see why that's important.
it's new for Alter.
Written and directed by Jonathan Quartus, stars Mark Ashworth, Thomas Alvarez, Amy Horler, and Karen Chimato. 16 and a half minutes. All right, a man is driving at night. He picks up another man along the side of the road, but instead of dropping the man off as planned, he cuts his throat. Dwight talks to his sister about letting the victim call home first. Then they feed the man to their little brother, Oscar.
Yum, yum.
Next, the sister goes out for her victim, but she comes back severely injured. He tells her they just can't do this anymore. Mother left us responsible for him. And the sister then decides to let Oscar eat her.
Yeah, because she's going to die, and she gives him permission.
Eventually, Dwight has had enough of this life. Does that sound familiar at all?
It sounds a lot like a movie that we saw from 2020 called My Heart Can't Beat Unless You Tell It To.
Yeah, and I'm like halfway through this thing, and I'm like, they plagiarized that.
No, not exactly. This was a short first, and then the director, same guy, made it into a full-length movie.
Yeah.
Which was, quite successful. We saw that. We officially saw that one and reviewed it.
Yeah, there's a link to the official review on the site. My Heart Can't Beat Unless You Tell It To from 2020. Mm-hmm. Turns out that the director and writer of this short did his first and the full-length version a few years later. And yeah, we had no idea that this was just I'm not going to say a redo. Let's just say it's
an expanded
preview.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
It's very well shot and very atmospheric. It's good in itself. I think the long version explores the idea better.
Yeah, I thought so.
Obviously, a 15-minute movie compared to a 2-hour one or whatever.
Yeah, there was all kinds of character stuff that they could expand on. Yeah, the struggles these two people are going
through.
Although
I seem to remember when we reviewed that one, I thought it was too long and stretched out.
Well, there you go.
And this might lean to why. You get the whole story right here. The rest is, I'm not going to say filler necessarily.
But they expand it more.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I'm going to call this my stinker of the week, just because we'd already sort of seen it.
Okay, it's good especially if you haven't seen.
If you haven't
movie.
seen it, it's fine. If you
haven't
haven't seen it,
movie,
go see the real movie.
Yeah. Well, yeah. There you go. Or see both and see how they compare. What you think?
Which next takes us to Requiem from 2021. Which I think this may have actually been 2019. Release dates are confusing sometimes.
And it's got that chick from The Last of Us.
I thought she was from Game of Thrones.
Oh, yeah.
Directed by
Bella Ramsey. She's done a lot of good things.
Directed by M.J. Gilbertson. Written by Laura Jane Runbridge. Stars Bella Ramsey, Sophia Oakley Green, Simon Bacon, and Sean Buchanan. 24 minutes and 12 seconds. It's the longest one we watched this week.
Kind of long, yeah.
Simon Bacon. Bacon. Well, what happens?
Well, it's the year 1605 in England. The preacher holds Evelyn back as she watches someone burn. We cut to a sermon given by her father, Minister Gilbert. Afterward, Mr. Shorter suggests that maybe she would want to marry his son Matthew, but she's not into that idea. Mary comes in, and they're good friends. Very good friends.
Inappropriately good friends.
Yeah. Gilbert tells Evelyn to strongly consider marrying Matthew and to forget about Mary. And I don't think Gilbert, I don't know, he might suspect a little bit at that point that they're more than friends.
He notices they spend a lot of time together.
He notices they're real good friends and spend a lot of time together, yeah.
But, you marry that girl off to a good man, she'll straighten out.
Yeah. Well, Gilbert insists that witches may be tried. There's another woman in the village that they're accusing of witchery. And, of course, Evelyn's like, that's hooey, but, God will protect them if they're innocent, is what Dad says. Well, Evelyn thinks there may be more mundane things going on than witchcraft, but she can't convince him. The next day, she meets up with Mary, and we find out clearly why she's not interested in Matthew. Some men walk by and see them together. Ew, that's trouble. So how does a same-sex relationship work out in puritanical witch hunt days? Not so well.
Not so well.
Not so well at all.
Well, it's got a pretty big budget. The costumes and sets are all really good. There's a lot of actors involved. It's also very well thought out. Some of the props and things, like the divider down the length of the bed, it was something I hadn't seen before from that period.
Yeah, their chaste bed. They're sleeping together, Matthew and her.
But they're married at that point, right?
I think they were. I thought they were.
Maybe not allowed to have sex.
Maybe it was a pre-marriage.
Right away.
Maybe it was a pre-marriage thing.
Why would they do that?
Well, we didn't see the ceremony or anything.
No.
But that's why they had the divider, and she was in a chastity sack too. That she got out of and snuck away to see Mary.
It's got some interesting historical things in it.
Yeah.
Well, there are several kind of slow stretches that could have been condensed or cut. The pacing here is fairly slow. Still, they've got those sets, and they weren't afraid to show them.
They take their time with it, but I think it was okay doing that.
Once we understand the situation, there really aren't any surprises here. You know how it's going to go. It's definitely more of a period drama than horror, but, the ending kind of qualifies it.
Mm-hmm. And Bella Ramsey was excellent.
Yeah.
I think she's always excellent. She's been an excellent.
I think she's like 18 in this
pretty
one.
darn excellent in everything I've seen her in.
Yeah, short film, Devils from 2023. We're back to the present.
Yep, we are.
Written and directed by Brett Miller, stars Chris Newman, Connie Cowper, and Bill Vincent. 12 minutes, 42 seconds. And what happens?
Well, 1977, a boy plays with cars until one falls out of the window. He reaches too far for it and falls out to his death.
Uh-oh, dead kid. That's never good.
Present day. David calls his wife. He has a stop to make on the way home. An old man asks if David is the one who's fixing up that old house. It's the house from before where the boy died. The old man looks up at the high window, and it's clear he knows what happened there. He says, every house has a story. Well, David goes inside the beautifully restored house and looks around, makes sure everything is just perfect. Apparently he's going to flip it. Well, he hears something moving upstairs and goes up to investigate. Uh-oh. And we see that he's not alone.
Yeah, I thought maybe he was like the older brother or the younger son, somehow related to the people from the beginning, but he's not. He really is just a house flipper.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Well, it starts off kind of slow and mysterious, but things escalate very quickly. The house is really nice. The acting is great as well. We know from the get-go that the little boy died there, but we don't know the whole story.
The old man knows.
Oh, yeah.
He knows more than he says.
Every neighborhood has that one house that everyone knows about.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well, that was fast.
That was
That
fast.
was a short episode.
Yeah.
All right, so we said we'd say what we liked best. What's your the list is up there at the top. What is your favorite?
I'm going to the list. I think my favorite was probably Familiar.
The guy with the record.
Yeah, the guy with the
Okay.
record and bringing girls to the basement, and the angst that he portrayed in that. And
Of this batch, which is your least favorite?
Um,
Maybe ignoring Kuru, because it kind of
Yeah,
fell to the bottom by accident.
Oh, I don't know, because they were all good. Least favorite? Probably Devils. But, least favorite was still good. I don't know. It's hard to choose. I think my second choice for favorite would be The Dinner After.
Okay. My favorite is The End of the Squirrel.
Okay.
I like the musical.
Yeah, that was right.
And I think
there.
my second favorite is Devils.
Okay.
One you didn't like.
Yeah, I don't know. That one didn't grab me as much.
Probably my least
I didn't
favorite.
dislike it. I just liked it the least.
Yeah, well, I was
Well,
watching
I
that
know-
one, and you came up behind me, and I jumped like 3 feet in the air. So that,
Yes, you did. And Sleep Breaker, I think.
Sleep Breaker is
I
my
put that-
lowest one,
I
I
put
think.
that down low too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of short. It's very simple. I mean, it's fine, but it's maybe a little shorter than it needed to be.
Mm-hmm. A little bit. Yeah.
All right.
But anyway, that's our opinions, and if you want to check these out, you should,
Yeah.
because they're absolutely free on YouTube.
All of them, yes.
Yeah.
And we'll probably have to do this again next year.
Okay.
In the meantime, though, we'll be back next week with our usual movies and a short. And I'm Brian.
And I'm Kevin.
We'll see you next week.
See ya.